cracking with what today's session actually has. So this is the package of beads that's been provided to me by Megan. So let's unbox together and see what's actually in here. I haven't looked, so it'll be a surprise to me and to you. Okay. So these, I love these, some little teacup beads. So this is a really nice sort of matte pearly colour. So they're really cute little teacup beads there. What are these ones? These ones look like a, I think they're called a duo drop. So they're a little 2-hole duo drop bead. Oh, I've got an idea for those. What are these ones? These are a Vexolo. So that's like a triangle shaped bead, 2-hole again, and it has a little sort of raised top on it as well. Some 3mm fire polish, gorgeous colour, that sort of chalky creamy colour there as well. Here is just a little package of some silver lined size 11 beads. Oh, there's some more of those Vexolo beads again, but in a multicolour. These are, I'm not sure what these ones are called, pink StormDuos. So that's a gorgeous colour too. I love this chalk white lilac luster. So that's got a really nice pink overtone to it. And some size 8 beads in what is, I think, that bronze 457L light colour. So thanks, Megan from the Bead Company, for providing these. Let's have a bit of a look at what I'm going to make with these today. I think I'm going to start with these Vexolo beads. So this really cool triangle shape. And she's given me a nice selection here in different colours as well. I think it's really cool to potentially create something that is multicoloured rather than single coloured with these. So that's the beauty of buying something that's a mix of beads, in that you can actually then, you know, pretty much have your colour selection sorted for you rather than having to think about it too much yourself. So if I just sort of place those around in a little bit of a circle. What other colour is there? There's a yellowy one there as well. They're really complementary colours that go together. Is that all? There's a white there too. So how many is that? That's 7. I think 7 colours. So if I've got 7, I might repeat that to make a really nice ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what's the missing colour? Cream. 7 there, and then potentially I've got enough there to make a second one. So that's sort of the 14 colours that sort of go together really, really well. What do you think about that? Hi Sandra, nice to see you here as well. So those colours together, as I said, when you buy that sort of mixed beads, it's one way of not having to choose colours yourself, because the manufacturer or the supplier has already done that piece of work for you. So I'm just going to thread my needle with some size, some 6-pound file line, using my trusty size 10 needle. If you've seen me bead before, you'll know I generally only always start with a size 10, and I will only go down if I have to. And then I think I might put something else in between those. They lend themselves to bronze, but the bronze that Megan gave me in the size 8 are probably a bit big. So I'm just going to grab out a size 11, and I have, is this one a bit strong? That's a bit strong. I've got a really nice matte bronze bead here that I think will go. There it is. So this colour here is called matte metallic copper. So it's a really cool colour that goes well with these beads. So I'll just pop some of those out on my board. And because these are a 2-hole bead, it's a really great way just to do that sort of pick up in between the holes there. So I'll try and pick up the same colour theme all the way around. Okay, so picking up the bronze and alternate that with the Vexolo bead. And it's got, of course, that 2-hole at the top, so I'll be able to fill something into the second hole at the top. So what's the next colour? Green, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and grey, and then clear. Okay, so there's my 7 beads on the ring there. Now, is that enough to potentially make one ring? Let's try it and see how big they actually look together. Yeah, that's probably a reasonable size. Potentially though, I might make this a bigger one and just do double of that all the way through. So I started with pink, then I went to yellow. I'm not sure that it's called yellow, but it's a sort of a creamy, stony coloured. Then cream. Then browny sort of colour. Then green. Then grey. And then white. Remember, I've got that other package of Vexolo beads too in the sort of green, so I could potentially repeat this with a full colour version. But there's a rainbow version there of all 7 colours in the ring. So that looks really nice together. It's a really complimentary way to pull those colours together. So one of the things I'm going to do is just tie a really nice loop for that ring of Vexolo beads, and I'm just going to do a double knot here. Leave myself a tail thread of about 10 to 15 centimeters, enough to hang on to. I find that having a reasonable tail is really good for your tension, and it helps you tighten and pull your work together. So I've seen lots of people work with really short tails. It's not mine. I prefer to have something a bit longer to hang on to. So there's a really nice ring now that's been created with that sort of rainbow colours. And it's ironic, these are really my sort of colours. I've never met Megan before, but she's picked something that's definitely in my colour palette. Good morning, Lorraine. Nice to see you here today as well. Now, these match really well, this little fire polish in the 3mm, but I think it probably needs maybe that 8mm bronze one on the outside edge, or it could well be that the size 11 works. Let's just trial it and see. So because they're a 2-hole bead, you can just pull your needle and come up through the top hole there. Just hold that tail thread out of the way. Now, the nature of these triangular beads is that potentially the size 11, is going to work really well, because the gap at the top is not a huge gap. I don't have to fill it with a large bead, just the angles make it work, that I can just repeat that second layer there of the size 11 beads. So I'll just pop those all the way around. And what that does is, when I've got this nice little bridge here between, it lends itself to be able to do some sort of embellishment on the top. So potentially that's where the 3mm fire polish might just sit on the top of that. Let's see, I'll get this piece done. So it's just a matter of going all the way back around again. So Vexolo beads are the ones that I'm actually using in a multicolour mix, and creating this sort of really simple ring with size 11 beads in between each of those. Hi Debbie, nice to see you here today. So it's good to have some people come along. Please send me any questions, comments if you've got any, because I'm more than happy to answer those as we go along. I have to sort of look up and see the screen, but more than happy to answer any questions that people might have, whether that's about the type of beads, where I've got them from, how do I use colours, thread sizes, all of those sorts of things. By all means, ask questions. Okay, so now I've got this really nice double ring, and it looks really good, just that simple double ring with the multicolour in there. And with a really good circle here, you could potentially put a rivoli in the centre, even a pearl, potentially, maybe a 14mm pearl might go in there. Let me think about that. So I'll grab out my 14mm. Nice big box of things that are in here, but I know I've got some sort of matty, that's not a word, some matte coloured 14mm that might fit there. So there's that sort of goldy colour there, or the pink. The pink's probably a bit strong. And these are just a simple 14 mil through and through hole bead. I know there's a brownie coloured one there, but that one's got a, I've put glue on it in the past and it hasn't survived particularly well. Potentially the gold or pink. Any votes there for what might go in the centre of that? Gold, pink? Okay. I think maybe pink. I am a pink girl at heart, so let's do it. A pink. So that 14 mil bead is going to fit really nicely just in the centre of this lovely little ring that's been created. And what I'm going to use is the initial row there of the size 11 beads. They're just going to create a really great way to build up a peyote wall up over the edge. So again, I'm going to thread back through and come up through one of those initial size 11 beads in the center there. And I want to be putting a bead on top that enables me to build up that little wall. So if I go back to the bronze beads, that pink. Okay, thanks Lorraine. I think I'm with you with pink. So I go back to the size 8 bead there, and I'm just going to utilize those to build that little wall. So I'm going to step over the top of one of the Vexolo beads and just add a size 8 bead there. Now this will look a little bit ugly, I think, just for right now, but as I build that wall to peyote up over the edge, I think it should look okay. Maybe not. Let's see whether they are going to cooperate. Yeah, they probably will. Okay, we'll keep going. So size 8 beads I'm just doing a peyote edge using that initial size 11 bead that I put in the center. And the size 8 is just sitting on the top of the Vexolo bead. Now it's not sitting perfectly flat because the Vexolo has like a ridge along the center. So it will pull together once I add that next row of beads. So sometimes the foundation of what you're working on might not be perfectly aligned, but when I add the next row, that should fit together pretty well. So I'll keep adding the size 8s and I'll just do a sense check. Yep, you can see how when I pop that in the center there, these are going to come up over the edge really, really nicely. So just keep sense checking that it's going to work, but I'm pretty sure that it will. So keep going with the size 8s. Now obviously you can also leave, maybe I could make an asymmetrical pair of earrings, one with a cabochon and one without, but that's very hard for me to do something asymmetrical like that. So I'll just keep going with at least finishing one of these. And then the next row will be a size 11 bead, I think, to start to tighten that ring. Now I started with 14 beads, so let's just hope I've still got 14 of the size 8s there. I'm pretty sure I will have. And now have this lovely sort of foundation wall, I suppose you could call it, to start to do the cabochon edge, the peyote edge over that. So that looks pretty good as it is right now. So let's go to the next row. Just hold my tail out of the way, and always with peyote I'm just stepping up at the beginning of a row. It's beginning of a row or end of a row, depending upon which way you want to start that. So just go through and add a size 11 bead again now in between each of those previous size 8s. And the multicolour mix is coming together really well. They're very much on trend for me, the sort of colours. I think they'll even match what I'm wearing today. So this sort of muted palettes of pinks and greens and lilac and cream, they go really, really well together. And the bead supplier, in their wisdom, have created a mix palette. So if this is something you're interested in, by all means get in touch with Megan from the Bead Co in Western Australia and grab some of these beads. Now, I need to step up again at the end of a row. So I'll step up so that I'm in the right spot to continue doing that little edge. Now, the beauty of these Vexolo beads, you can see here, there's a little rim inside where I've popped that size 8 on. So that 14 mil is going to sit just nicely on that little rim. So I won't necessarily have to capture the back. You can see there, that's what the back looks like. Jay, you're going for gold, not pink. Okay, well, there's a pink and there's a gold. Do you know what? I think I might be with you. Pink, oh, I don't know. I like them both. I like them both. Maybe I can make 2 pairs. Okay. So, well, 1 pink and 1 gold. Now, I'm going to do the next row, and because I want to actually start to capture this cabochon, or this 14 mil, I now need to go down a size bead. Instead of the 8, I need a smaller bead. Now, if I'm going to use the pink, then I think the bronzy color actually works, but I think I want to complementary another color. I don't want to use exactly the same one. So I'm going to grab out, what color's going to go with that? Maybe the darker bronze might work now with that, the darker color. Or do I need the 457L in the 11, which I do have some of those, so I might try that one. It's one of my favourite colours of beads, is that sort of light bronzy sort of colour. And it pairs really well with the matte. So I'm now just picked up a size 11 in that same colour as the, or very similar colour as the size 8. And as I start to, and I'm actually just going to pop the cab out of the centre while I do this, as I start to pop those next row of size 11s in, it builds and starts to hold, it'll start to hold that pearl in place. So add a few more. When I pull that tight, you can see there my little wall is building. So let's pop that in place. And then it will just take 1 row of size 15s to hold that whole thing in place. Now, one of the other advantages of using a little 14 mil disc bead, I suppose that's probably the right word, a disc bead maybe, like that, is because they have a hole in them, you can actually use that hole as well to secure the bead too in place. I probably won't need to with this design, but at least you know that if you want a little bit of extra security, you can actually do that. So I'll keep going with my little size 11s on the top here. And you can see there, it's just starting to create a nice muted sort of sunflower, I suppose, looking piece. Now, always, you know, my first thought with a lot of these sort of designs is earrings. They're really quick, simple, easy to make, but potentially something like this, you can make components to build a bracelet or to build a pendant, or, you know, a necklace with, you know, 4 or 5 of these types of things repeating. So the beauty of learning component beading and making, you know, one thing, and then how do you build that into create bigger sets of jewelry. That's what I really love about, you know, making components. How else can you repeat that on something bigger and build your sets of things with one basic component piece? So I'm nearly round to the edge there. So that little 14 mil disc bead is now held really nicely in place. I'm not even sure I'll need a size 15. I don't necessarily need one to hold it, but I think I need one to finish it. And for that, I'm going to do a really, I think, a gold color just to really pop against that pink. So I'll pull that really firmly. So that 14 mil now is held. You can see there's the back view. Back view looks really good too, actually. And of course, it's got the flat side of the Vexolo bead on the back. And now I just need something just to sort of pop right in that little edge there. So I'm going to grab out, where's my gold beads? I've got a yellow gold, that's too yellow. I've got a rose gold, nope. I actually have a matte yellow. I'm going to try that one. The matte gold. So let's see what that looks like against it. And the size 15 in between each of those 11s now just holds that in place even more securely. And the yellow against the pink, here's me using yellow again. Goodness me, someone who really didn't use yellow and now I've got it a second time. That just pops right against that pink disc bead there. So really, really simple technique to create a disc component piece that could become an earring, potentially put a drop from it, an earring hook on there, could become a component that gets used in a row as in bracelet, or even a center focal for a pendant or necklace piece. So great skill to know how to make a component piece. The other thing I love is it's got these really good gaps here to potentially fill something else in. So I might layer that up and do something else in that little gap there. One of the things I like about using size 8 beads is it gives you lots of opportunity to create little pockets and divots that you can then fill in with other beads. So let's see how that actually looks now. So you can see there the yellow just pops straight away on that piece. I've got a nice little hole gap here that I could just maneuver my needle to come out of that size 8 there. And it might be that the little fire polish could fit there too. They're probably just a little bit too big. I might need maybe a 2mm fire polish will fit, or a 2mm pearl will fit as well. Let me grab one of those out. Two mil pearl in the creamy sort of colour is going to fit pretty nicely in there, I think. The 3mm just, I'll just size it again and show you. The 3mm is just slightly too big, and instead of popping nicely into that hole, it would sit above and again create a bit of a thready look. Whereas the little 2mm pearl, just get that onto my needle there, they're a little bit tricky to pop onto your needle, is just going to fit nicely in that hole. Yep, look at that. And just gives it a different finish with the pearl look on there. So I'll just pop those all the way around. So now I've got this really lovely little component that can become an earring, pendant, brooch base, bracelet, all sorts of things. So great technique if you can learn how to do component beading. And look how good that looks with the little pearls in there. So that's Vexolo beads. I've used the mix color to do that. I've added some size 11 coppery beads and some size 11 bronze beads. I've also used the size 8 beads that Megan provided in the bronzy sort of color. I've added some 2mm pearls and some size 15s and a 14mm disc bead all the way. I'm just beading that all around to create this really cool little muted sunflower looking component piece. And okay, let's have a little bit of a poll. What do you think? Will this become an earring, or will this become a set of 3 in a pendant necklace? Or bracelet I probably would not wear, but other people would. But I like the idea potentially of creating a second and third piece, maybe with the pink and the gold, and I could even use the brown, so I could have all different colored ones. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. That become a really nice necklace. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Thoughts about that? Ideas on whether this becomes a 3-component necklace? I think that's what it could be. And I'll just pull that tight there. That's finished. That little cab is now held really securely in the little nest. The back looks just as good as the front. So I do like the back view of this, although all the fancy footwork is in the front. Three, three is you. Yes, it definitely is me, Lorraine, isn't it? Three. So I think I'm going to make three of these. A gold, I'll grab out another color, potentially have three different colors, or maybe, you know, pink, pink, gold, pink, something like that. So I think that's what I'll do with that, but I'm not going to finish that today. I want to move on to something else. So component beads, this can also, as I said, become an earring, and potentially then I'll need to think about what the joining for this actually looks like as well. But let's just put this to one side. I'm not going to finish that thread off because I may use that later on, but I can just remove my tail thread that is sitting right at the back there as well. So there is component one of the Vexolo beads. Okay, let's have a little bit of a look at some of the other beads that Megan's provided. So there's some lovely little teacup beads here. Where did they go? Here. These are a beautiful little bead to utilise, particularly on a bead embroidery sort of edge. You know, they sit really nicely with a little bead in the centre. In the little teacup, you know, sits beautifully once you pop a little bead in there and finish that sort of edge. So another way potentially to use some of these Vexolo beads would be to do a strip of them versus a round. So again, I'm just going to grab some thread. I will use crystal again for this. So I'm just sort of grabbing out, you know, just a bit over a meter of thread, and I'll just thread my needle. Here we go. Okay, now with these, because they're a triangular shape, they just sit really nicely side by side like that to make a lovely little strip. So again, simple way to actually utilize them. You could also, you know, make it sort of square shape as well. Well, let's see what that looks like if I put them like that. Again, creating that sort of component style, you know, something along those lines. But I want to try and utilize the little teacup bead in there somehow. I'm not quite sure how yet. So let's just thread these. So again, I'm going to go back to that bronze coppery color because I really like that muted copper with this. And threading these in a strip like this. Super simple way to actually use them. Just got to remember to do the triangle the right way with them. But does create a really nice, easy sort of little, that one's upside down, bracelet type look. So you can thread all of those really super simple just to create that look. Or I'll just move that so you can actually see that. Something like that works really well. This type of banding is beautiful around a tassel too. Always really like that sort of look around a tassel. In fact, that might be something we do with this strip. So let's create a strip. So I'm just using the triangles, the Vexolas, so that it creates a straight strip rather than a round angled piece. And I'll just keep popping these on, alternating it with the coppery coloured size 11. Okay. Really nice, and it matches my green jumper today as well. I'll keep popping these on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I'm going to wrap these around a tassel or, I mean, a bracelet, I'm not going to make a bracelet because it's going to take me way too long. And you'll be bored watching me just thread beads on doing that. But something along these lines with these triangles, just think about the technique of creating that longer strip, and then you could potentially just put, you know, a little loop and cut. It's a really simple bracelet technique, but would work really well with these beads. But I'm actually going to use the band that I've just created here, and I am going to wrap that around a tassel. So let's grab out a really nice muted, I think potentially a creamy coloured tassel is going to go well with this. Tassels. Nope, wrong box. Loose tassels. Tassels. This is the tassel box. Now I've got a nice mutedy sort of bronzy one there. I think that's probably going to work. Okay, so a cream or a mushroomy sort of colour or a pink colour. Let's have a look. My camera just decided to move. I'll pop that back straight. Okay, cream or bronze one, mushroom perhaps it's called. So these little tassels, this is just a really simple, 10 centimetre tassel, I think it is, 10 centimetre. Let's measure that so I make sure. Well, it's not even 10, it's an 8 centimetre tassel, and they have about a 8mm diameter top. So they're a really nice, easy tassel to use for either earrings, for pendant pieces, decorative purposes, and potentially this could be a pair of earrings, given that I'm going to have got a few of these green beads. So I want to try and make sure that my strip that's going to go around the top is not too big. That's probably one bead too many, maybe two. I'm just going to take two of those off for now. And they're going to wrap it, really nicely around there. So again, I've got how many on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good, I like an even number. And I'm just going to tie that into a knot. And pop that over the head of the tassel. Now tassels come with different sort of finishes on them. Some of them will have like a ribbony string thing like this. Some will have a little woven loop. Some may have nothing. I tend to just cut these off. I'm not going to utilize that to hang anything off because I always want to just bead straight over the top of it. So if it's one like that that's had a little bit of a thready piece or ribbon piece, I then will get my thread burner and I just want to sort of melt the top of that tassel there, just so that it's not going to come undone at all. So just melt the top of it really gently, and then it will actually just not fray any further. So these colours look really nice together over the top of this. Let's make sure that the little triangles are facing the right way. I'm just going to pull that tight so that it's firm around that sort of ribbony part, or the tied part of the tassel. Now I've managed to put that on back to front, I think. No, I've just got to flip those. So I want the ridged part of the Vexolo bead to be on the outside, not the flat part. Okay, there we go. Now draw that really tight. One of the things I love about using these little fabric tassels, and you will have seen me use these a lot, is that you can actually just stitch right through them. So once my little ring is in place, I can actually just use the tassel as the foundation to hold everything in that ring. So I'm just pushing my needle right through the center of the head of that tassel there, and it just helps give a little bit of security of holding that ring in place. So don't be frightened of actually stitching into your tassel so that it's firm and secure. Okay, now again, I'm going to come back to that bottom hole there, and I'm just going to add another row of these little coppery beads around that hole, because they, again, that little gap fits just beautifully with the size 11 there. Just hold that all out of the way. And the other thing with working with tassels, when they come with these little cellophane sleeves on them, try and leave it on your work as much as possible as you're working with it, because it stops the tassel sort of all flaring out, all of the little fronds going all over the place. Gives you something to sort of hang on to when you're working with them. So I do try and leave those little cellophane sleeves on for as long as possible when I'm working with tassels. So I'll keep going all the way around. So again, you know, this little lovely bridge of copper beads in the center there gives a good foundation for building something else on, whether it's potentially the the 3mm fire polishers. I can visualize what I'm going to do with the teacup beads. They're going to be a really nice bubbly sort of top that's going to go onto this. And okay, so now I'm just going to pull my tail thread and my working thread tight so that I start to really firm that ring around my tassel. Now, it's not particularly firm just yet. You can see there it's a little bit sort of still loose. But what I want to be able to do is, I like an even number because it just helps with creating, you know, a top on there or doing netting. So I know that looks really good there when you look down at the top of that and see the flat parts of the Vexolo and then the pointed part of the other end. And to make it even more secure, it'll be doing things over these little bridges and things to tighten that up. So I'm just going to thread and come out of one of the size 11 beads there. And I've got those little 3mm fire polishers, which they're going to fit just nicely in that little bridge there. So it's a matter of which way I want to place them. And I'm going to net them. So if I go back to that yellowy gold colour, pick up 115, a 4mm and a 15. And if I just go through the opposite size 11 bead there, opposite side, pick up another 15, come back through the 3mm and then another 15, and then in the opposite direction through the 11, through the Vexolo and through the next 11. What that does is create a little nice net sitting on the outside there. Now, there's there's a couple of holes here, but that's okay. We can go back and add more. This is all just about foundations to build on further. So again, 15, 11 and a 15. Go opposite direction through the 11 bead. Tail's still there. I'm not ready to cut that off just yet. Pick up a 15, go through the 3mm. Pick up a 15 and then go through the size 11, the Vexolo, and the next size 11. So 3 in 1. And then that will just flip that little net to sit on top like that. See that? Now I am going to do something, I think, over these as well. And my tail, see the tail's just caught just there. I'll just pull that out of the way. I will do something around that there, but I'm just going to keep adding those. So 15, 11 and a 15, and then I go coming out of a bead and go in the opposite direction in the one above. 15, back through the 3mm, and then a 15, and through the Vexolo, the 11 Vexolo and 11. And when I pull that, it just sits that little 3mm like that. So repeat that. So I need 8 of these to go around my little tassel piece. And 15 through the 3mm, 15, and then through the 11 Vexolo and 11. Now that's starting to make that ring more and more firm around the tassel as well. Okay, 15, 3mm and 15. 15 through the 3mm. 15. There, these muted colours look really nice together. It's a good autumn sort of look too. Looks great when you look top down on this piece now as well. Where did my 15s go? I'll put them away. I have a drawer here right at my work desk that is the beads that I use most often. So it's full of sort of gold, silver, rose gold beads, and they're the beads that are my foundation beads for a lot of projects, so I keep that handy. All of my other beads are stored in drawers by colour, but I keep a stash of my most used beads right at my fingertips. Gold, silver, and rose gold, black and white generally, in size 11s, 15s and 8s, just here at my fingertips. So it does make it easy just to grab out those foundation beads whenever I need them. Okay, I'll repeat that again. So a couple more to do. So I'm going through coming out and going in the opposite direction, picking up the 15, going back through the 3mm, like that. $11 Vexolo and 11, and here I am on the last one. So 15, 3mm 15. Okay. So I've now got a little bit of embellishment. You can see that all the way around there. That tail is still there. It's certainly firmer. It's not 100% tight. If I can sort of push it and make it a bit tighter. But I do want it to be firm. I don't want it to fall off. So I'll need to think about how I'm going to firm that even more. And I think maybe once I start going through this top row, maybe we might do another row around there. So what I'm going to do to tighten that even further is I'm going to come out through that top hole of the Vexolo just there. Just there. Come on. I want it to cooperate. I've just managed to catch the thread of that. Okay. If I go through the Vexolo only, not the size 11, okay, and then I'm going to go through the next Vexolo bead, not the size 11. And what that'll do is that little thread will sit behind the 11s there and just tighten that slightly. So just repeat that all the way around. So through the Vexolas only. It's just a little bit awkward to get to, but that little tip of going just through one of the alternating beads and not the whole ring that I started with helps just to tighten that a little bit further, because I really want to have an even number of beads to work with to do the next part. A lot of it is about, you know, the count when you're working with beads, and if you can work with even numbers particularly, they're great for this sort of a project. Okay, one of my sons has just turned up, but he can go and talk to his father because I'm busy. Hello, hello, Ruby's here too, so I will say hello to Ruby. Hello, here, let me just, come here. Come and say hello.
She's got text on her.
Oh, hello. Say hello. Hello.
Look, there she is.
There she is, look. She's Ruby. Up on telly. Okay, bye. Bye, Ruby Dooby. See ya. Okay, that was a nice little break. But back to work. Okay. So I'll just keep threading that around. That was my 18-month-old granddaughter Ruby and my son Ryan. So they've just called in to say hello. Okay, that's just tightened that nicely now by just going through those, that's Vexolo bead only, and pulling the tips of those beads together. the size 11 is still popping out there and is a good foundation for the 3 mils. But the more I sort of just tighten that now is really firm around the edge of there. I'm going to cut that rotten tail thread off because it keeps catching every time. Let's get rid of that. Okay. All right. So now this is nice and firm, and I've got this lovely top view here of those beads, and that will be how I'll build something across the top of that tassel. And I still want to do more on this little hole gap, I'm not sure what I want to call it here, where these size 15s are. So if I just bring my needle out of a size 15 bead there, I think it's probably maybe, let's do a metallic-y sort of colour. Another size 15 is just going to sit nicely there. Let's just pop one. So I'm coming out of one. Oh, I'm actually going to ditch those ones. They are my favourite rose gold size 15, but they really don't like me working with a size 10 needle because I have to really pull that every time. So I'm going to just get a bronze colour instead. That will go through. There we go. So that PF557 rose gold one, I use those all the time, but I have to swap needles and I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so I've just picked out another size 11 in a bronzy silvery colour, and if I just put that in the middle there, it just hides that little hole that comes from those previous 15s. I've just got to work out how I'm going to get to the next bead now. So I love that, and maybe I might pop something in between. So if I pick up another 11 and I go through the 15 like that, yep, that's going to work. 15. Okay. Now I don't want to do that over the top part. So I'm going to go through the Vexolo. Literally I'm making this up as I go along. Because I'll do the opposite on the bottom part of this little strip. So I'll come out through a 15, that's just here, pick up the metallic 15, go through the next 15, pick up a bronze, come down to a 15, pick up a metallic, through the Vexolo. Like that. Yep. Okay, got to remember what I'm doing. Okay, pick up a metallic, pick up a bronze, come down the 15, metallic, up through the Vexolo like that. So now you can see it's created this little nice group of 4, like it'll be even. Okay, so that's a down through the 15, a bronze, a metallic, down through the 15, a bronze. Look at that, looks really good. That top of the tassel there is nice and even now. Come through that next Vexolo and I'm back in the same spot that I started. Now I'm going to repeat that on the bottom, and what that'll do, it'll be an opposite look on the bottom. So again, I'm just going to push my needle to come out through the tassel somewhere near the bottom section. Okay, so let's repeat it. So I'll go up through a 15, pick up a metallic, down through a 15, a bronze that's going across the narrow tip of the Vexolo, which is opposite to the top side, 15 metallic through the Vexolo, wherever that hole is there, yep. Like that, up, $15, bronze, through Vexolo, up through. So when you're building and decorating these tassels, your foundation band that you put around gives you so many opportunities just to build out different elements. So whether it's embellishing like this over the top of your base, leaving your base, a little bit more exposed and doing more decorative around dangles, from the bottom of your tassel, or building over the head of the tassel. Your foundation ring that you do when I've been doing these sorts of decorative tassels gives you lots and lots of options. And any of the 2-hole beads I find particularly work really well as a foundation bead for this sort of band around a tassel. So, you can use the 6mm cabs, you can use these Vexolas, you can use StormDuos work really well as well. Lots of different beads work well as that sort of foundation band when you're building a tassel base. Okay, so I've now got this lovely now little sort of zigzag, of the copper that's top and bottom. Lovely little band that is even all the way around. It sits really nicely with the 4 beads at the top there. And I'm just going to push my needle to come back out through the top, because now I want to do something with the teacup beads. And I said earlier, these are a really cool way to use these in a bead embroidery technique. So I'm literally just going to pick up one of these. I'm going to add in a size 11 bead. I'm just going to push through and just leave it just like that as a little decoration over the top of the head of the tassel. So I'm just going to repeat that now and do a little random selection of these teacup beads over the top of the tassel. So I'll keep picking up one teacup, one copper bead. Now remember, I cut off that little silky ribbon loop that was at the top of the tassel before. So if I'm going to hang this, whether it's as an earring or as a decoration, I will need to have some sort of loop. I do like to have a beaded loop with these. I figure if I'm going to bead something, let's bead it properly and have lots of beads. So I could bead a little loop then that's just going to come out of this tassel just to hold that in place. So you can see there I'm just adding those teacup beads in a random sort of fashion over the top of the head of that tassel, and they're just filling that fabric really easily. You can just stitch through the tassel in any sort of direction. They're easy to sew into, so use tassels as a sewing. It's pretty much just stitching it in. They're really easy to work with like that. And now I'm starting to sort of build up a top layer of these. and just keep pushing my needle through. It's becoming firmer and firmer the more that I add, but you can see there I've now got another sort of layer with these little teacup beads on the top. And it's slightly random, so the fabric of the tassel, you can just see that through just ever so slightly there, but it's a good muted colour, matches really well. Just keep popping those on. Just like that. What do we think? It's organic looking when they're random, but it looks, the colours work particularly well together, the creams and the bronze sort of tones, and creates a different look with this random application of teacup beads over the top of the head of the tassel. They're really cute to work with. It reminds me, is it one of those, Rosemary will know because she knows flowers better than what I do. Rosemary, if you can answer me on this. What's the type of flower? Is it a seed pod? Banksia? Is that what I'm thinking of, that it looks like? Potentially that's what it could be. So now I'm nearly finished adding all of these on here. That one just managed to fit in the top there. So I've got this lovely little head. I'm going to take off my little cellophane wrapper now, off my tassel. So you can see there, I've got this lovely little top covered with the teacup beads, okay? I've got my little band there that I created with the opposite copper and copper across the top of the Vexolas, and top and bottom. I could potentially do something else around the bottom edge there, and I need to do a ring. Probably need to fit maybe one more teacup bead in there, in that gap. Let's look and see whether I've got any other gaps there that might need to be filled. Oh yeah, there's one there. So again, I can just push my needle all the way through to the opposite side there. One more teacup bead, just like that. And then, so I've got this, sorry, I just knocked my camera. I need a loop now to come out of this somehow, and maybe I might do a little beaded strap. I think that's probably appropriate, that sits over the top. So to do a little strap, I'm just going to do a slight little herringbone strap, I think, or no, I'm going to do a string of beads. So I'm just going to pick up the copper beads all the way. You can do all different sorts of loops over the top of these. That navy one that I showed earlier just has a little loop off the side. This one I'm going to do a loop right over the very top of it. So I'll need a few more beads than that, probably maybe about 20 beads in the size 11 there. I'm not really even going to count them. I'm just going to see how many come across. Yep, that should do. And then I'm just going to thread that, you know, directly on the opposite side, just like that, and create this little nice loop. So this will be a decorative tassel, and then I'm just going to thread all the way through again. Something, you know, you can hang these off a wall unit, you know, off a handle, hang them from little hooks. Some of the ones that I've made in these Facebook Lives, I hang off hooks in my bead room. They're just a different way of showing how to use different finishes with tassels. So you could hang it from a handbag, little sort of charm type thing with it as well. I probably wouldn't hang them from a key ring because I reckon they'd get pretty knocked about easily, but you can just use them as a decoration piece as well. So not everything has to be earrings. You can make multi-use out of these. So just sort of go through that loop a couple of times to secure it. It probably needs a couple more to go through. So again, just continuing to use that tassel fabric to, you know, stitch into wherever I possibly can, and coming up through the base there where I started that little loop, and going through all those beads again one more time just to tighten that. Okay, and then I think we might look at the StormDuos, I think they were called, and the diamond drop duo beads as well. So that's the other lot that Megan's provided. So we'll have a look at those next. So we've used Vexolas. I've used a 14mm cab in the previous piece to make a cabochon, which I will go, sorry, to make a component piece that I'll go through and make a couple more of those and create something, I think a necklace with those, because I just really love the way those muted colours have come together. Okay, so there's my little tassel that can be used, as I said, decorative, handbag, could potentially do some more things underneath the bottom here as well. So you could add a little bit more, but so I'm just going to leave my thread on there and just put that one aside for the minute, and then move on to the next lot of beads, which are the StormDuo. So there you go, there's a tassel piece, there's a component piece. So that's what we've made so far today. What's that? Oh, an hour. That's not too bad, Paula. That's pretty good. I'll just undo my thread there and see what comes out of the next lot of beads. So there's some size 11s here as well that Megan has given me. They're in a silver line, sort of a peach colour. I'm not sure what I might use those for. I'm definitely not going to bead a rope on camera because, you know, that takes me forever. But they could potentially be a rope that might go with one of these pieces. Okay, let's push those aside. Clean up, just move things out of the way. Okay, so the other lots that Megan's given me here are these StormDuo in that pink lustery colour. So they're like an S-shaped bead. So again, these would be something that would be a really nice foundation bead for a tassel as well. They could also, you know, go together in that sort of format. You know, they sort of click together nicely like that as a sort of a rope potentially, or a rope. Actually, they might join the other beads nicely together, and the component piece. And these are the drop duos. I've used these before. I've got a couple of earring tutorials that I use these for. They're really sweet little earring. Actually, I'll show you what I've made with these because it is a lovely little bead. Where are they? I actually wore them the other day. Can't see them for looking. I literally wore them to work this week. Oh, there they are. Okay, this was a design that I did maybe a couple of years ago. That was these, there's the gem duo bead, the drop duo beads here. So they're right here. That's them there. I've used a little candy bead in the center there. Actually, I'll try and replicate these. I've never done a tutorial for these. I just made them and I wear them a lot. And they've got these little gem duo, I keep calling them gem, drop duo beads around them. So let's maybe replicate those, and they've got a drop on them. I also made it into a ring, and this is a ring I wear regularly as well. Same sort of thing. It's got those in them. The drop duos, they're sort of pointed in different directions. It's got a peyote strip. It's got the candy bead. So let's potentially utilize those, and I'm going to replicate that. As I said, a tutorial I've never actually written up. It's just a pair that I wear a lot. So let's try them. So the candy bead is, what colour will I use with that? So I've got some of those, so this is a sort of a goldy colour. So I've got some candy beads in purple, and I've got them in this aquary blue. So maybe I might do the aquary blue colour with that. So the aquary blue and that sort of gold, they look really good together. So let's replicate these. Let's see if I can remember how I actually made them. Okay. I've got a feeling that smoke fire line that I've used in that, I would say. And I've obviously done a little bit of a ring around and then built those off it. Okay, let's try that. So I'm just going to put some smoke fire line onto my needle here. Again, probably about 1 metre. Always happy to join in more thread if I need to. So my little StormDuo earrings, I've got a couple of another tutorial that uses these, and I've made some little stud earrings out of them and some little tiny drop earrings. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to wear really big earrings, these little StormDuos work really well for making a little bit more of a petite piece of jewelry. Okay, so with these candy beads again are a 2-hole bead. They're slightly larger than the 6mm. I think they're about 8mm across. So with the spacing of the holes, it works really well to have a, I'm not going to use that copper, I'm going to get a gold colour. It works really well to have an even number of beads to hold in the centre. So I'm going to grab out the gold matte. Check that. Where are they? There they are. This is another really nice colour. It's this check matte pale Aztec gold. That's going to work really well with those. So I'll grab out some of them. Now I've just got my needle coming through one of the 2-hole beads there, that way. And what I want to try and do is build up a set of size 11 beads around the edge there that give me a nice foundation. So I'm just going to pick up 5 size 11 beads. That's too many. I'm just going to pick up 3 size 11 beads and go through that next hole there like that. Hanging on to my tail thread just here. Again, I'm going to pick up another 3 size 11 beads. So the trick with doing this is to make sure that what you're picking up is the same, so it's even on each side. So you can see now I've got 3 and 3. I'm going to come through those first 3 size 11s added like that. And I want to come over to this other side, so I probably need 5 beads maybe to fill that gap. Is 5 going to do it? Maybe 6. I'm going to go through those second lot of size 11s that I added. Yep. 6. So now they just sort of start to form a ring around the candy bead. So now remember I added 6, so I'm now going to add 6 on this side. So that means 6 and 6 is 12 and 3 is 18. 18 doesn't really divide into 4 though, does it? So I probably need to add at least another 2 beads. And you can see there it's a little bit gappy. So I'll need at least another 2 beads in that to make that 20. And 20 divides much nicer into 4. So I'm just going to undo that again. And I'm going to add in 8 beads this time to make that gap. So I probably should have done 7 and 7, but anyway, I've done 6 and 8. Okay, so you can see now that's a really nice ring around that candy bead. So because I want to try and create this format of 4, I need to pop another bead in here, like here, to give me something to build off. Okay, so I'm just going to go through all those one more time just to secure it. But it's a lovely look with the matte gold against that blue luster sort of candy bead, and then we'll add those little drop duo beads in that as well. As I said, a tutorial a design that I wear a lot. I've never taught this one or demonstrated it before, so now I've just got to try and remember how I made these at least a couple of years ago. Okay, and keep going all the way through, just so that's nice and secure, that ring then around that. Okay, so what did I do then? So I've obviously, let's think. I might have then added the gem duos, so the diamond duos, drop duos. Okay, let's see. So I've got 20 beads there, so I need to think evenly how am I going to do the 20 beads. So if I pick up two of the, nope, I'm going to get an opposite colour. So I need, what colour's going to go with that? Not the bronze. I think the bronze is too dark. I might need maybe a cream. Maybe a cream might go well with that. Let's see. Green bead. It's a bit close, that cream. Maybe instead of a matte gold, a yellow gold. Yellow gold, yep, we'll try that. So pop out some yellow gold. So I've got a feeling I've picked up a yellow gold, two drop duos, then a yellow gold. Now, got to count now. So if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, how's that going to work? Let's see. Just creates that nice little shape off there. Okay. So if I have one yellow, two little drop duos, one yellow, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll go through the 5th bead. I think that works for my maths. We'll soon know. I'm very much trial and error with this sort of stuff. As much as I'd like to plan it, I just sort of guess whether that's going to work or not. So two yellow and two drop duos, 1, 2, 3, 4. So through the 5th bead, like that. Yep. And yellow, drop duo, yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, through the 5th bead. Amazing, the maths worked. So you can see here I've now got this nice little shape. And what I have is an opportunity for some peyote there. That's what I've done with this, I believe, to come off that piece. Okay, so I'm going to just step up through that next yellow bead. The little drop duos they're a 2-hole bead as well. So I'm going to utilize that. What have I done here? To come up, I've done some peyote there, and then I've wrapped around them. Okay, I'm going to come out through the next gold bead. Gold bead there. And I'm just going to pop one of these nice little bronze. So I've got a set of 3 in there. So 1, 2, 3. If I do, let's do 3 gold. No, I'm going to do bronze, gold, matte gold, matte, and go through the next yellow bead there. Yep. Literally am trying to replicate something I made several years ago using these beads. Yep, that's worked. So again, I come up through that yellow or the gold bead, and if I pick up a matte gold matte and go through the next gold, sorry, not knock my camera, through the duo, drop duo, out of the yellow. Now pick up a matte gold matte, through the yellow, the gold, through the drop duo and the next yellow, gold, matte gold matte, and through that again. Okay, so what that's given me is two sort of rings around with the drop duos, forming this nice little sort of heart shape. I've then obviously come around and done some 15s and things, so I'll think about that in a second. And I've also gone over the top and secured that with some 15s over the top there. So what I'll need now is, what am I going to do? Some 15s in yellow gold, or maybe that matte yellow again. And no, maybe even that bronzy color there, that's better. So maybe 1, 2, 3 of the bronze, and I'm then going to go through the top hole of the drop duo, and I'm literally just using the beads that are on my board. I mean, I've kept with a fairly similar color palette today, so it does make it easy just to continue using the beads that are out. Now, where's that come out of? That's come out of the yellow, the gold there. If I do that, yep. Now I'm going to do some peyote across that little bit. So pick up a bronze, go through the gold. Sorry, I keep saying bronze, it's actually matte. And then repeat that again. So I need 1, 2, 3 of the darker bronze, little matte yellow in the middle. But that use of beads that are on my mat has made it easier for me without having to think too much about what colours. These all sort of go together really well, and come through and make that into that gold. Like that. And then do the peyote there, so the matte on top of matte. So what this is doing is actually really strengthening. I mean, it looks a little bit floppy right now, but the more layers I add actually helps strengthen those little arms that I'm building off the side here. Pop the bronze in there, matte yellow. Oh, it's come together pretty well. So it's not firm there in the center yet because I do have to do some more building to hold that little candy bead in place, but you get the gist of where I'm going with this. So wrapping the size 15s around the little gem duo bead, drop duo beads, building little peyote sides in between, and then I'll do something on the center just to hold that candy bead a little bit tighter in place. So 1, 2, 3, match in the middle, and then 1, 2, 3. But this particular design, it's one I wear quite a lot, particularly the ring. I love the ring, it's really comfortable to wear. Maybe I might make this into a ring as well, but the ring in itself is this sort of component with couple of extra layers I've probably done on that, and then a really simple peyote band just to wear. So this could be what this piece actually turns into. Okay, so you can see there I've done that all the way around now, and it's feeling a little bit firmer. It's still not quite there yet, but it's definitely firmer than what it was. And what I want to do is secure that center candy bead a little bit further. So I'm just going to come up through, go through the the drop duo just there. And I want to try and bring my needle out to one of those center matte beads, so I can do some more peyote around that. Okay, so let's just come out through here. And I've obviously put 15s on the top of that. So I want to put a central bead where the gold is just there. Okay, let's just, so see, this one's actually going to sit on top of the mat. So I've picked up a gold bead, and then I went through 4 beads. So I pick up a gold bead, and I'm going through 4 so that that next gold bead is just sitting on the top corner there. Remember how I started with 20? This is how the 20 works really well. So pick up 1 and go through 4 and leave that gold just to sit on top. Pick up 1 and go through 4. Now, I may not have necessarily done this in the right order, I don't know, but it's also because I'm trying to remember how I built it for it to come together. Now what I want to do is do one more row of 15s in the front of that. So I'm going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, I think maybe 5 15s, yep, and then I'm going to go through that previous gold bead that we just added. And what that does is that little row of 15s sits on top of the candy bead and just creates another nice little edge over the top there, like that. I don't know about 5, I think maybe 4. 5's a bit too many. Let's go back and take 1 out of that. And I'll take 1 out of that previous. So 4, so that it sits up over the top. So I've used the previous 4 gold beads as an anchor bead to hold that. Previous 4 corner beads. Pick up 4 of the matte 15s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go through the next gold bead just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Through the gold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really, sometimes it depends on the size and type of bead that you're using. Sometimes 4 will work, sometimes 3. But now that's a nice little ring that forms over the top of that candy bead there, like that. Now, what else have I done? I've done some other outer edges here as well. And I've done some more peyote. Okay, so I'm happier now where that's sitting in terms of securing the candy bead in the center. As I said, I may not have done that in the right order, but at least it sort of worked. I want to move back up to this edge here so that I can continue doing that little edge piece around the drop duos. So I'm just moving my needle to come out of one of the group of 3 bronze 15s that I had there, and let's just add in another 3 and go through that little matte bead. Might be 3, it might be 4, I won't know until I do it. Yep, it's 4. So just add 4 of those little beads and go through the matte bead that I'd added in that previous round. And you can see there that just creates that nice little edge around the drop duo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then through the 3 beads added in the previous round. And I'm just going to come out of one of those because I've got that little step up for peyote to happen there as well. So if I come through the matte bead and then I add a gold bead Look at that. That's worked really well. Really well. Okay, so again, I'm going to come up through the 3 bronze. Up through the 3 bronze. Now this is becoming nice and flat now as well. I want to add 4 bronze, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go through the matte bead like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, through the 3 bronze beads, and then step up through the matte gold 11, which one, right there? Oh no, I think it's that one. It's sort of flipped. Yep, it's that one. And then I'm going to just peyote 1 gold 11 in the middle. Yep, that's right. 1 gold 11 through the matte like that. And then through the 3 bronze. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. That way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see now this little component, again, component beading, it's fantastic when you can make individual components and turn them into other things. This is an almost finished component which then can then become something else completely. So it can become the basis for earrings. It could become, you know, a set for a bracelet in terms of, you know, 3 or 4 pieces joined together, or more than 3 or 4, you know, 5 or 6 potentially to make a bracelet. It can become a ring with the simple addition of a peyote strap. It can become a necklace by building out different components to make a necklace piece. So you can master creation of components. It just gives you so much more for what you can turn your pieces into. It's yeah, really good fun building and creating components. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 through the 3. As I said, I'm not sure if this is the way that I actually built this piece previously, but it's not too far off what I had done. The methodology is still the same. Have a central piece, build some sides from it. Then once you've got your sides sort of set in place, think about how to secure the central piece, how to build some peyote off the side. It all just sort of comes together relatively well. So that one went in the wrong hole though, so I'll just redo that one. That one should have gone into that one at the back there. Yep, that's better. So here's my lovely little component that is starting to look like my previous earrings. So I've obviously hung those that way for a change. So you can see here I've then put another 11 in the gap there. Oh, that's back to front, sorry. I've put an 11 here. I've done another row of peyote. And I think that's all. So let's do that. Because once that's done, and maybe I might have secured, no, that's how the back looks too. This then turned into something else. So let's just go, maybe I might just go through the second bead there, not the first of those group of 3. Yep. And then I'm going to go through those all again. Now, because I've used a matte previously, I'm going to add a gold at the top there. So that's a nice contrast then. I'm just going to come down through 6 rather than the 7 beads, and then add the peyote side again. So 1, is that what I did? Yep, 2, and then go through 6 of the size 15 beads. That, add one more gold, and then through 6 of the size 15s again. Now obviously I think I've added another row of peyote there somehow, but I can't sort of work that right at the minute, can't work out what I did. Because there's definitely one extra centre bead on these sides, but this is not a bad recollection of what I did a couple of years ago. Yep, that's all sort of working through the 6. Gold. Through 6. And matte. Like that. Have I got any gold out of my board? No, I need to grab a yellow gold. Now if you've seen me bead before, you know I'm one of the messiest beaders going around, but I got hold of a bead sorter from Jill, the clay lady down under, a couple of weeks ago, which is one of the best devices I've ever had for cleaning my bead board. I will be more than happy just to pop all of these in, give it a shake. It'll sort by color, sorry, not by color, by size, into 8s, 11s and 15s, and has made my cleanup of beads so much easier since I've had it. So if you are looking for a great beading tool, have a look at a bead sorter. It's fantastic. I'll show you when I finish doing this. So there you go. There's my little component created there. It's got the little StormDuo beads. It's got a candy bead in the center. It's got a matte and gold finish. I need to do something just to tighten that a little bit more. It's a little bit loose at the back there, but that little component can become an earring, can become a ring. You can see how it can build out and become lots and lots of different sort of pieces. So really cool little design using the StormDuos. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to use this bead sorter. So it's got 4 little jars and a lid. I labelled mine, so size 8s, size 11s and size 15s, and then it's got a little dish at the bottom. So you start with your smallest at the bottom, so 15, 11 and 8, like that. Then it's just a matter of scooping up the beads that are on my desk like this, scooping everything, popping it into the little sorter like that, and give everything a little bit of a shake. Shake, 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 shake. And then the large beads stay in the top. The size 11s are all here, and then the size 15s are here. Fantastic resource. I can't believe how easy it makes it to actually clean up your beads. So it's great, the bead sorter that comes from Jill at the Clay Lady Down Under. So let's just have a little recap of what we've done today. An organic topped looking tassel. So it's got the Vexolo beads in the band. I did a bit of an asymmetrical finish with some fire polish and then the teacup beads at the top of that. I've got this little component piece that I made with the StormDuo beads and some matte and yellow gold beads. I need to just tighten that a little bit in the center there, but a great component that can turn into things like earrings and rings. And the last one I did today, where did that one go? It is here somewhere. Oh, this little component here, which is using the multicolor beads. So I've used the Vexolo again and created a great foundation piece there, and used the matte pink 14 mil and some gold and bronze on the top of that as well. So this will be a piece that I think build multiple components from and create some sort of other piece. So that's been today's little pieces. So thanks everybody for coming along. Thanks Megan from the Bead Company for supplying the beads that I've used today. So Vexolas, some 3 mil fire polish, some teacup beads, some 8 mils, some 11 mils, and some StormDuos, which I didn't get to utilize today, but I think maybe part of the pendant that I'll create and use some sort of rope with that as well. So thanks everyone for coming along. I hope you really enjoyed today's session. Nice to see some of my regulars here today, so thanks again for coming along, and look out for the finished components over the next couple of days. Thanks again. Bye for now.
It's Paula from On a String, just showing some of the finished projects from my Facebook Live session last week, which was Design on the Fly Surprise. The first is this finished tassel that has some lovely little teacup beads and some Vexolo beads just around the band, and I've embellished those with some 3 mil fire polish. All the beads for this session were provided by Megan from the Bead Co, so thanks Megan for that. The second one is this finished pair of earrings I'm calling these baroque inspired. They're actually featuring the drop duo beads just here on the edges, and I've added some candy beads in the centres and some little drop beads in that bluey gold finish as well. Really happy with this design. It was one I did about 4 years ago, so it was great to actually replicate that, and I'll probably write that up as a tutorial. One of the other pieces that I'm working on is the StormDuo beads, so creating really cool little components, wheels that can be used for multiple things, earrings, pendants, bracelets, lots of ways to join those little components together. And the final one is this pendant piece, which features the Vexolo beads that have now got a mounted 14 mil bead in the centre. And I've used the little Vexolas just on the edges there, and I'm actually going to create a chain that comes off these little points, and it will be a piece that sits high up on your collarbone, so designed to be a feature just at the neck. So thanks Megan for all these little components. Great session making lots of new designs. Really appreciate it. Thank you. In Perth made, and I've shared this earlier, is this little StormDuo component piece, and I've started to build that into a necklace. You can see there I've added some size 6 mil beads in between each one of those, so I thought I'd just demo how to make one of these little components and how to join it. So the StormDuo beads look like an S shape, and it's a matter of making sure that they're all in the same facing direction for this tutorial. So I'm just alternating that with a size 11 bead, and the size 11 I've chosen is a matte check silky gold is actually called, check matte pale Aztec gold is the second one that I've put with that, and that's working with the pink luster S-shaped StormDuo beads. And I'm putting 8 into a ring. I did trial this with 12. It didn't sit very flat, so 8 seems to be the perfect number. So once I've got those into a ring, and I'm making sure that all my S's are facing the same way, let's just check that. Yep, they're all facing the same direction. I just tie that really simply into a loop and a double knot, and the thread that I'm using here is the Miyuki thread. So this is the lavender color that I'm using for this. And what I've done then with this piece is I pick up a size 11 bead in an opposite color. So this is the coppery colored one, which is the second bead that I've put on the needle. Then I pick up 2 size 15 beads, and I go through the top hole of that StormDuo bead like that. I then pick up 2 more size 15s, another of the coppery size 11s, and I go through the gold bead at the bottom here but then I come back up through the copper bead, so I'm actually popping the copper bead perpendicular to the gold bead. I then pick up another 2 size 15s and go through the StormDuo top hole. So you can see that it makes a really nice V shape on the top of that StormDuo pair. So I'm just going to repeat that around the ring. So again, 2 size 15s, an alternate colour size 11 bead, come through the size 11 in the round and then up through the size 15 bead added, and then add another 2 size 15s. So again, you can see I've got that nice little V shape there. Just keep repeating that. So 2 15s, 1 size 11, and then go through the size 11 and then up through the size 11 just added, like that, and then 2 more 15s. So I'm just going to keep repeating that around the ring. Okay, so I've got all of my little V shapes popped in, the size 15s in between each of the StormDuos. I'm actually just going to bring my needle out of the one of the pairs of 15s on an outer edge there. Then I'm going to pick up 4 size 15 beads, and I'm going to go through the next size 15 bead on the next StormDuo bead. So it goes over the top of the StormDuos. I'm then going to pick up a little 2mm fire polish bead. You could use a 2mm pearl in this as well. And then I just go through the next size 15 bead. So I'm just going to repeat that around my little component here. So 4 size 15 beads over the top of the peak of the StormDuo. Pick up a size 2mm fire polish or pearl, and then pop that in between and keep repeating that all the way around until I've got 8 added in the outer edge. So there'll be 8 little decorative beads, and in this case I've chosen a little lavender coloured fire polish bead, and that's complemented really nicely with the pale pink of the StormDuo. I'm using a yellow gold size 15 with this, and the matte gold and matte copper colours in the size 11. So it's a really muted palette that's come together for this piece. So I'll just keep repeating, adding on size 15 beads around my little ring, and it just creates a really nice frame around the StormDuos. And again, go through just the single size 15 bead at the top, pick up 4 and then go through again. I need to pop out some more of those lavender beads like that, and then 4 more size 15s over the top, another little lavender bead, and 4 size 15s. And when I'm going to get to the end, what I want to create is a really nice peak on the corner of each of these StormDuo bead sets. So I'm at the point of doing that now. So I'm at the very final piece. So I come up through 3 size 15 beads at the very last one. Now to make that really nice peak, I just want to pick up a size 15 bead, and then I'm just going to go down through 3 beads, through the little fire polish, and then up through 3 beads. And what that does, it gives a really nice picot edge to the little point. You can see one there that's got a point and one that doesn't have a point, and you can see the difference in that. And I'll just keep adding that all the way around. So 1 size 15 bead, down through 3 beads, through the fire polish or pearl if that's what you choose to use, up through 3 beads, 3 size 15s, trying to do it all in one go. Yep, there it is. So creating those nice little peak points around my component piece. So I'll keep going with this, and then what I've done is I've just joined these really simply together with a 6mm pearl with a little decorative edge around the 6mm pearl, so I'll show you that as well. and my aim with this is to actually put a magnetic clasp on the back. This will be a necklace piece that sits high up on your collarbone or neck. I think I'll probably need to make about maybe 14 or 15 little components for this to get the right height, the right length with this. So yeah, 14 or 15 I think is what I'll actually need to make to get that to sit nice around the neck. Going with this. So again, pick up a size 15 bead, down through 3, like that, cross through the fire polish, up through 3, make that little point picot on the edge of the StormDuo. And the additional row through the fire polish helps secure that bead as well. So that now has 2 thread passes going through it. With the addition of this little 15 picot edge, it helps also secure then that 3mm. So 2mm. So again, I've come to the end. I've got my little points all the way around with this piece. And I want to come out of a size 15 bead that I've just added, one of these little point picot ones, to be able to join my piece now to the rest of my pendant. So you can see here I've got a little string here. What I'm doing is actually joining on the second, I'm leaving 2 beads at the top. So, sorry, 2 peaks. So it actually curves really nicely. If I'd done this straight, it wouldn't curve as nicely around the neck. So I'm just leaving 2 and then 3 at the bottom. So that means I'm going to join into this particular one here. So I'm coming out of a size 15 bead. I then want to pick up, I'll do this little alternating pattern with the copper. So pick up a copper bead, a little 6mm pearl. So these are some beautiful matte Swarovski 6mm pale pink pearls. I've had these for a long time. I don't know that you can get these anymore, but they're one of my favourites that I've ever had was these matte pink ones. So I just pop those 3 beads onto the component piece that I'm adding there, and then I'm going to come up through a point bead on where I'm going to join it. So remember, I'm leaving 2 points at the top. And now I'm going to pick up another size 11 bead and go through the 6mm, and then another size 11 bead and through the point picot bead as well in the opposite direction. So I just flip that so it's going the opposite way to what I came out of. Flip that again. Got a tail thread in the way there, and I'll just go through that size 15 bead. When I draw that nice and tight, you can see there I've got that sort of little T shape happening above and on either side of the 6mm pearl. So I come back through the size 11 6mm and then through the next size 11, and to sort of lock this in place now and keep it tight, I'm actually going to add a size 15 bead on the opposite side of the size 11. So a size 15, pick up another size 15, go through the 11, the 6mm, and up through one of the 11 beads here, and through that 11, and then add another size 15 through the picot bead there. And what that does, it just makes it a little bit more secure with those. So that's now got sort of 3 or 4 thread paths going through the 6mm. And so you can see there I've got 2 11s and then 2 15s, 2 11s and 2 15s. And just to secure that, I'll just go through these a couple of times. And then I want to add the decorative edge that sits just around the 6mm. So again, I'm just going to come up through one of the size 11 beads here. And to keep it a little bit interesting, I'm using an opposite colour palette. So I'll just pick up 2 gold, one of the little fire polish, and then 2 gold. Go back through the size 11 bead again here. And that just sits nicely around that 6mm pearl. And I'm going to come through the opposite side and add that again. around my 6mm. So again, come up through the 15 and the size 11. Pick up 2 gold, fire polish, and then 2 gold again, and then go through the size 11 bead here. And that just adds a little bit of decorative element around that piece. So that's how I've joined the little StormDuo components. I will go ahead and finish this and pop a magnetic clasp to actually join all of this together, and that's where you can see I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As I said, I think I'll probably need about 14 to actually finish that piece.